Hi there, welcome back to the channel this week. After 40 years as a photojournalist, I've got some old Canon glass just sitting around. So I figured, let's put a 1987 Canon 300-2.8 on my Fuji X-T5 with a Fringer EF-FX adapter and take it out to shoot some Lacrosse. The in-focus rate, you ask? 90%. Not really what I was expecting. A couple of years back, I tried the Fringer EF-FX Pro adapter, but it did not work real well and I sent it back. So when a subscriber suggested the Fringer EF-FX Pro 3, I was a little skeptical. I thought about it and purchased it knowing I could send it back if it did not work. This new version is pretty awesome. It does a great job communicating with the lens and the camera body, which is the Fuji X-T5. The autofocus pass-through is outstanding. It's not as quick as native Fuji glass and does not switch from subject to subject as quickly with the back button focus held down. But surprisingly, it is very sticky and holds to the subject really, really well. So here is the rig. As you can see, the whole setup is not bad because the adapter is small, actually smaller than the Canon EF to RF adapter. So here I am at a Lacrosse game, and I'm using my X-T5 with a 39-year-old lens paired to it with the Fringer EF-FX adapter. And I've had pretty good luck with it, and we're just trying it out to see if I can use this lens that I've owned for a very long time with this particular camera. This camera actually does pretty good for sports. It was overcast, so not ideal for the hybrid contrast phase detection autofocus system on the Fuji. I was on the field and sitting in my fold-up stool using the rig on a monopod. The game was fast at times. I was using AF custom setting number 3 on the X-T5 with an ISO around 400. My exposure was 1/3200th of a second at 2.8. So what I was looking for was a knocked out background. I have the autofocus set to zone AF, so the camera is figuring out what to focus on. I have found this easier than using single point as it is a larger area. Now at 450 millimeters full frame equivalent, tracking action is hard because the subject is really close up. I only start autofocus with the AF back button and I don't just hold it down unless I have a clear view of the players. I found the AF to be very sticky and held on to focus very well on custom AF setting number 3. So I was using a follow then hold technique with the back button focus. It worked really well. Okay, let's take a look at some of these images, or I should say, let's look at some of the sequences that I took with this X-T5 with the 39-year-old Canon 300-2.8L. Not the IS version, the oldest one. So it's 39 years old. Let's take a look at some of these. These sequences are really, really good. So the cool thing about 15 frames a second with the X-T5 is that I can pick out a really good shot from maybe, 5 to 8 images. Look at this sequence here. These are all sharp, concentrating really on the guy in the green. The camera's figuring that out. Another face off. Now this is a cool shot here, and you can see it picked up this guy in the green and it stayed there. Another sequence. Just amazing stuff. So I think you get the idea is that we've got a camera that's 39 years old with a really new X-T5. I shouldn't say really new, 3 years old, 2 years old. And it's keeping up. Now we're concentrating on the guys in the red. Now you see, here it focused on the foreground. Not really sure why, but it did. But then it comes back in again. You're concentrating on this guy in the red. This is a great sequence. This sequence, now look, here it went out and it stayed in the middle of the frame here. I'm not sure why, or I should say it focused him back. I'm not sure why. And then it came back in again. Pretty amazing, if you ask me. An ancient lens, antique lens, and a really new mirrorless camera. Pretty cool. I'm amazed that it was able to keep up like this. It's pretty crazy. So there it is, a 90% hit rate. Of course, this does not include my mistakes of focusing at the wrong time. Also, if players were in the foreground when I hit the focus button, then the camera occasionally picked up that instead. But honestly, trying to get that center point on the subject would have been a real challenge. So the camera did a great job. I'm being honest here. I would have been using the Fuji 100-400 at 5.6, and the AF results are pretty much the same. The difference is the aperture. f2.8 is like f4 full frame, but 5.6 is like f8, so the background is completely different. It's much cleaner. Also, I was able to shoot at a high shutter speed of 1/3200th of a second, which made a huge difference in what was in focus because there was no movement at all. Again, this makes for a cleaner image. Here are some of the best images from this shoot. So as you can see, with a little bit of cropping and just a very little bit of toning, these images came out great. I was really surprised. It did what I wanted it to do. It knocked out the background. That was the important thing. I didn't want any background at all, or very little. And the images are nice and sharp. The ones that I pulled out are nice and sharp. Boy, they're great, really great. So I'm pretty excited to be able to use this lens again, even with my X-T5. Would it be nice with an X-H2S? Yeah, probably. But hey, I don't want to spend any more money. Let's talk about whether this actually makes sense as a working solution. If you already own one of these lenses, and a lot of photographers who came up shooting Canon do, the math is straightforward. The Fringer Pro 3 runs at about $350. That's your total additional investment to put a world-class telephoto onto your Fuji body. $350. That's it. If you don't own the lens, a used Canon 300-28L IS, the image stabilized version, runs around $2,500 on the used market right now. Add the Fringer and you're at around $2,850, all in. The native Fuji 200 f2 is going to run you about $4,000. And remember, on a crop sensor, that Canon is effectively giving you more reach, not less. Now, is it perfect? No. You're going to have to dial in your AF settings. I walked you through what works for me, but you may need to adjust for your shooting situation. It's not plug and play out of the box. There is a learning curve. But once you get there, it works. Not kind of works, not works for a casual shooting, works at a professional level in a fast, demanding sports environment with a 90% in-focus hit rate to back it up. So let me know in the comments, what's the oldest lens you've ever taken to a real professional shoot? I'm curious whether I'm the only one doing this kind of thing or if there are more of you out there that are thinking about it. If this was useful to you, a like really helps the channel out. And if you want to see more of this kind of testing, go ahead and subscribe. And remember, it's not what you photograph, it's how you photograph it, and we'll catch you next time.